But let's take a look at what I call the golden age of video stores and the blockbuster age. The golden age of video rental stores started with just mom and pop stores that was seen to spring up overnight. Out of the blue, these little shops would pop up at low rented shopping centers with some catchy name, mostly with the word video in the title, like Video to Go or Video Premiere. These were 100% local, and mostly on the inside working were families, a mom and dad, and maybe their teenage son that kept trying to tell you to rent sleepaway camp. And on the weekend, maybe their daughter that looked a little too young to be having a job would be there to make sure you rewind your copy of Like Father, Like Son. There was good and bad thing about these local stores. One, they knew you, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing. It was great when they got in a copy of My Blue Heaven and knew you would love it. But it wasn't good when you would go there with your friends, and you knew they could at any time let it slip that you rented and liked Pink Cadillac. The bad also was, if there was a new release, they might, at the very most, have 3 copies of that movie for rent. That would mean if you didn't get there early, you would be on the waiting list, which could be days if there were a lot ahead of you. Even if they did promise to give you a call as soon as it was available to rent, you would mostly have to call the store every hour just to ask, cause you were in a hurry to see Raw Deal, but they were not in a hurry to rent it to you. Lucky as a kid going to these stores, it was easy. You go with your parents who would let you pick out whatever you want within reason. But if you were an adult, you had to get a membership, and that wasn't easy. It was like taking out a home loan, as a local store feared someone not returning the video. Some places you had to put down money. Others could take 5 to 7 business days to check your credit report. And some would call your friends to make sure it was okay to rent you something from First Choice Video. But the best part of the local stores were they knew movies. This wasn't some store that popped up just to make some extra dollars during a fad. They were run by movie lovers. You could come to pick out a movie for the weekend, and you could spend hours talking to a family member about why No Hold Bars was a masterpiece. The local video store was king. Then, along came the Walmart of video stores, Blockbuster. Blockbuster wasn't the only major retail video rental store chain, but it was the biggest, with almost every town having at least one, if not 2 or more. Unlike the local video store, they wouldn't have 2 and 3 copies of that new release to pump up the volume. They would have 20 to 30 copies, promising that anyone that wanted to rent it could. It seemed like overnight Blockbuster killed the local video stores. They could not compete with the store's inventory or prices. But with the death of the local video store, the family feel died along with it. Sure, there were some 16-year-old kid in khaki pants and a blue and yellow shirt at your local Blockbuster store to tell you how you must see Dante's Peak, but it just wasn't the same. It was clean, bright, and corporate. So it was fun to go to on a Friday night, walk up and down the aisle with your date and argue about the movie to rent. And it was nice that they would have the movie you wanted to rent. But something was still missing. It was a factory of movies, and you were the spoke in the wheel. Bring a video back a few minutes late to your local video store, Tom would understand that you had to take your son to soccer practice. Bring your video back to Blockbuster 40 seconds late, you were charged a late fee that cost more than it did to rent the movie. And God forbid if you forgot to rewind it, video rental had gone mainstream. And like anything, corporate killed it off. Sure, it was easy. Sure, it was convenient. Sure, it was less of a hassle to get a membership. But it just didn't have that feeling of being run by movie lovers. As it became cheaper to buy movies, or get movies mailed to your home, or streaming online, and after a lot of poor decisions made by the higher-ups at Blockbuster, they went under. Just like the local stores they killed off before. Today, Blockbuster is remembered as a great fun place, but to a lot of us. But we remember it as Blockbuster, the company that killed video rental fun. Even if we did miss the local stores, we went to Blockbuster. It was like complaining that your local record store didn't carry that album of Black Flag you've been looking for, but you knew Virgin Record Store had it across the street. You wanted to support the local stores, but it was just too easy to give in to the corporate machine.
Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.